My crumbs.
So the thing about your crumbs, Mike, is that everyone can hear them now.
Oh snap!
Okay.
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 YouTube.
I need to tweet it.
I'm eating too. This is
Yes,
some
that was a good deal.
ASMR shit for you, baby.
Why is Nick Turbo hanging out sadly in the secret Elisa room? Jeff, did you make this on air do not disturb room and not give Nick Turbo permission because of the time he was bad?
Yes.
Yes.
That's exactly what
I
happened.
can move him. Listen, I'm gonna move him. Brace yourself.
Maybe he's learned his lesson.
Hello.
Hello.
How's it going, Nick?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. They want me to give you full permissions again, and I'm against it because I am a harsh god.
Yeah.
I just like the Mod Junior title way too much, guys. That's the problem.
I'm okay with it.
Maybe I can up the privileges of Mod Junior when I get a
I
chance.
can let you in
Start.
if you want to. We can let him in, but
What am I doing? What am I doing?
What am I doing? I was gonna tweet, and you just tweeted, and that reminded me. All right.
This weekend was great.
yeah, that's pretty good.
I don't remember it, but yeah, we raised some money. That was fun.
That's a good title, Jeff. Oh, weekend was super fun.
Yeah, I had a good time.
We'll talk about the experience.
Yeah.
Where's the Nintendog NFT?
God.
Stop it.
It'll just be me and Jeff French kissing.
Oh,
I mean, we don't
I
want
mean,
it to
somebody
work too
said it like
much.
that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna yuck your yum.
Mike, you're all choppy. Is your internet okay?
I'm
My
choppy.
inter-
Your video's choppy, or is it just choppy for
Yeah,
me?
I
I don't
mean-
know.
Let me see. I'll do a speed test.
I'm gonna check the server. US Central. is
Does he look choppy for you guys when you guys see the video?
I can't see the video right now.
Well, no, I mean
Oh, here,
in
it's like, yeah,
Discord.
I can.
In Discord.
No, I look completely normal. For me, anyways. I don't
He
know.
looks super choppy for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah. So it's not just me.
Okay, one
Yeah.
second. Yes. Let's see. Well, my download speed is amazing. Let's see what my upload is. Dun,
What are you
dun, dun,
uploading?
Nothing. I'm doing a speed test. Uploads 20 megabit. Is that good or bad? I can't remember. What could I do to fix this? For Tim, what's the alternative to Armstrong even around here? I have no idea. Mine's actually been pretty good recently.
It's starting to even out. I mean, it's kind of like pixelated, but it's fine. It's not a big
Yeah.
deal. You sound fine. We're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's just a hiccup. I think it will probably
Yes,
come
that seems
together. I think my internet is fine. I just
Yes.
did the
Okay.
test.
Cool. So it's probably just the server or something. The Discord server.
And my internet's like 40 megabits down.
Yeah, that's what mine used to be, and I paid money to get more.
Mine's
I had that option.
Hondo.
I have 333 megabits download and 20 upload. I think
Oh,
I know
that's so
download's
good.
good.
Yeah.
20 I'm
I
not
only
sure.
have
20's
I only
fine.
have
It's not
6
great, but it's
upload.
fine.
I have to get Penny off of Netflix. That's right. Penny, stop watching Puppy Dog Pals.
Puppy Dog Pals. Oh, my kids
Yes.
love that show. That show's made by
hate
that
one.
comedian Harlan. What's his name? The one with the chin, and he was in Periscope Down. Harlan,
really?
Not
I
Ellis.
tell you what, I don't know why I hate that one. Like I've had to watch a lot of these shows now just because of nieces and nephews and stuff. But like it's some of them I can tolerate. Like even
You just hate small dogs.
PJ Masks fine. I mean I don't mind. I mean I don't know. I somehow have avoided having to watch very much Paw Patrol. I just happen to not be around, but Puppy Dog Pals is always on, and I find it annoying.
I gotta say that I've built up a full tolerance to all of it.
I'm sure.
I like nothing phases me anymore. They can watch the worst garbage.
I'm almost tired of hearing the adults talk about how they like Bluey and how Bluey's good, and then a lot of times their kids don't like Bluey as much as them and want to watch the garbage instead.
Right. Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, okay, watch the garbage. I don't care. I'll watch Bluey by myself.
Right.
Like that's fine, and I don't need
No
to
idea
talk
what
about it. Okay, I think everything's
So,
in order. Let's
Are
just
you gonna
check
become
this.
a full-time streamer, Mike?
Hey, you guys hear me?
What's that? Am I gonna become a full-time streamer?
Actually, could you guys hear that? You guys probably couldn't hear that. I probably have my.
Not full-time. No, I can't hear it. Sorry.
No, I'm sure it's NVIDIA broadcast. Okay, yeah, Mike's gonna be a full-time streamer now.
Oh
I believe in
shit.
him.
It's gonna be a Final Fantasy 14 streamer.
Thank you.
Hey, you guys hear me? Start cheering now!
Could you guys hear
Dangly
that?
thing in mouth.
Probably not. Okay, so you guys couldn't
I
hear
did
that.
hear it. Sorry. Yes, I was,
Oh,
I heard
okay.
you. Sorry, I'm
Yeah,
trying to
we heard
multitask
it.
now.
No worries.
Just got
I'm
some.
not sure.
Yeah, don't forget about the dangly thing in mouth.
I'm guessing you didn't get the Christmas thing ready.
I can in like 2 seconds. Give me a second.
No, it's fine.
No, it's right there.
early.
I downloaded it. It's right
Thanksgiving
there.
yet.
It's right
It
there.
might need some editing and stuff. I don't know.
Oh, it does need editing. Doesn't
Christmas,
Fine,
it's not
Chef.
even Thanksgiving
do
yet.
it. That's fine. We can wait one more week.
it? All right, let me do
It's
that.
fine, Chef. It's fine,
2
Chef.
more weeks.
It's fine that you fucked up. It's okay
Wow.
that you're a lazy
Wow.
slob who does a bad job.
Wow.
You didn't remember that you had to do a podcast today. You
I
told me you
remembered.
forgot.
I did not forget.
Oh, right, I had to do a podcast. Thank you for
I had to drop a
messaging me.
kid off, and then I came right back and got right set up like always.
I like your new camera. Oh,
Man,
and the
they-
Discord's your.
Yeah, no one else
Your
can see
camera's
that. That's just
above.
for you
Oh,
guys.
no one can see, yeah.
It's the pervert cam.
Whoa, hide that, whoa. I didn't want to see that.
All right.
Man, so much hair.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
So much
Crazy.
cleavage.
My beard.
So much cleavage.
Yeah, that's the titty.
Yeah, you had to pay extra for that one. That was in the Patreon.
Let's ride.
Let me just test it.
Do it.
No, wrong thing.
Oh, a little bit low.
Jeff, don't worry about it now.
I want to. All
It's
right,
not
you're right.
too late.
Okay.
It's too late.
I'm
Too late. We can,
raise so much money for the kids.
Don't forget, we have a summit going on. We gotta get started here.
All right.
Stop! I swear to God, if I hear you messing around with the Christmas thing one more time,
I could just
I'm
do it. I could just do it.
flying.
I could just do it manually. All right.
Oh,
Okay. All right. Mike, are you
okay,
ready?
Right, bye.
I think he's doing
Bye,
it.
guys.
All right, yeah, get
Yeah.
out here. Do you have Stream Elements open, Jeff?
I do have Stream Elements open. I'm looking at it right now. In fact, there was one a minute ago that I'll be happy to read.
Oh, funny. Yeah, true. All right.
Let me do the countdown, Mike, and then I'll hit record and then we'll go. All right. 5, 4, 3.
Hey, you guys hear me? Start cheering now! Yeah, let's get this over with. Yeah.
Woof woof. I'm Mike Minotti, and I am a Nintendog.
Hi, I'm Jeff Grubb, and I am a Nintendog.
Today, Nintendo has confirmed the Switch 2 wall. We're going to be talking about our favorite third-party games that have appeared on a Nintendo platform. We'll be talking about that with our community. But Jeff, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. We're coming off that strong Extra Life weekend. That was a really good time. I don't remember much of it. I feel like my brain completely shut down at some point, but it was. I do remember having some fun, and then I recovered on Sunday, and now I'm ready to go. I guess it's Tuesday, so I've already forgot Monday as well. But the point is the Extra Life was a lot of fun. I did 12 hours, then you did 12 hours. How did you find yourself enjoying it?
I really enjoyed it. I couldn't believe how fast the time went. Even like I had a bit of a graveyard shift because I went from 6 p.m.
Yep.
to 6 a.m., which, as I discovered, included an extra hour because of the daylight savings, which was funny once I realized that. But man, it went by super fast. A bunch of our mods stuck around. TurboShawn was there for a long time.
Yes.
So thanks to him. And then it just went by really fast. Like, even at the end of it, like even though it was like 6 a.m. and I didn't sleep, I was like feeling okay. But once I went to bed, I was very tired. And when I woke up and it was like dark out because I slept during the day, then I felt weird. But at the time, fantastic. It was a lot of fun. We had an amazing response. We combined, the two of us raised $3,457 for Extra Life and for our local children's hospitals. So thank you so much, everybody. Wait, did I not say we are the last of the Nintendogs? That's absolutely not true, Noah.
You did not say we are the last of the Nintendogs. I was letting it slide because I didn't want to derail the show.
I can't believe it.
So,
okay.
I mean, I don't know. To me, that suggests maybe we're not anymore. Maybe there's another Nintendog out there, hiding out there.
You shut your goddamn mouth. What is this, like Digimon? Is there an 8th Digidestined? Man,
yes,
if you get that reference,
it's just like Digimon is what I was going to say next. You took the words out of my mouth.
And we are the last of the Nintendogs. Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Just like a glove. Just so good. Just no problem. Right back into it.
That's right. That's right. I'm very proud of that catchphrase. I can't not do it.
It's a good one. I'll say that Extra Life was fantastic. It was very, I don't know. It was cool to have everybody hanging out. We did. I think we both kind of got to our goals faster than we were expecting.
Yeah.
And it was just nice to see so much support. And I really enjoyed the times where I was like, oh, the community's playing with us, playing games with us. We were doing.
Yeah, the surprise hit was probably Jackbox games. Those were always a lot of fun, and they're very easy to do with Twitch and stuff. Yeah. So, and I like a fun mix of like my actual like real life friends and my brothers, and like some of the community members and people following on Twitch. So it was a lot of fun. It was great stuff.
Yep, it was a good time.
We should maybe once the conference is over, we can make a highlight reel. You didn't see me playing Daikatana, but that was a trip. Oh my god!
Yeah, I missed that. I would really like to see that. Yeah, we should do that. We'll try to make that happen.
Me. It was worse than I was expecting. Like in my mind, I was like, Daikatana is probably actually fine, and everyone is a baby. And turns out no. Turns out Daikatana is not very good. Turns out John Romero did in fact make me his bitch.
Yeah,
and I sucked it down.
You should have played the Game Boy Color version. Wasn't there a Game Boy Color?
I think it's supposed to be better. It's like a top-down something.
That's very funny then.
Right.
Well, I mean, you had to play that because you got to your goal, so congratulations on that. But I've still to this day never played Daikatana, and I'm probably fine going the rest of my life not doing so, Mike.
Yeah, I think you are. I think that would be a correct assumption, Jeff. I tell you what, it looks bad and it plays bad, and then you remember it came out in 2000, like 2 years after Half-Life 1, and then it gets kind of sad.
Yeah, that's all okay. Yeah.
But Daikatana is not a Nintendo game, Jeff.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. So should we get to some news here? And I think we'll be talking a bit more about our Extra Life experience when we get into what we've been playing.
Yeah.
Specifically our 30-round game of Mario Party Superstars, which was also a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a good time. Let's do this. Let's get into the news.
Wait, the Daikatana did come out in Nintendo 64, didn't it? Okay, well then it is
I think
a Nintendo
so.
game.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, hilarious news, Jeff. Nintendo did have their earnings report since our last episode, so we got some things that came out there. The Switch has now sold at 92.87 million units as of September 30th, 2021. On the flip side, they are not going to be able to meet holiday demand, and they had to cut their forecast because of the chip shortages. So now on one side, that's bad. On the other side, it means that they are selling Switches as fast as they can make them still. And this system is it's 4 years old now, or very soon, right?
I mean, because it came out in November, so yeah, it would be 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Almost like 4 full years. We're going to be going into the 5th year here.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
I use my figures, everybody.
Again, the Wii U lasted 4 years. So that's incredible. Jeff, what do you think about those numbers?
I mean, this thing is going to it's going to hit 100 million here probably soon, like maybe over the holidays, because the holidays is like, always the best quarter for it.
Even with the shortages, it'll probably hit that, and it could pass the Wii. The Wii's total sales were 101.63 million units sold worldwide, and that seemed like this phenomenal, like ridiculous success that had all these news reports, and it was like a sensation. And although we all know the Switch is super like successful, it's not like CNN was covering it and stuff like that a whole ton necessarily. It's like saying it's a more quiet success doesn't really seem right, but it's a different kind of success than the Wii. For one thing, it's a success that actually sells a lot more games, so it's something that's better for Nintendo. Yeah,
so speaking of that, there's like an attach rate of like 7 games per console or something like that. So and those games are also more expensive, because you got to think that attach rate, probably a significant portion of the Wii's attach rate, like I think they had like 900 million pieces of software sold, were probably like $5 eShop games, and
like Carnival games.
Right, yeah, exactly. And this is like, it's a lot of $60 games. There's a lot of indie games as well, but it's even then, that's not $5 eShop games. Yeah, it's going to surpass the Wii. I mean, it's always important to remember that this is the Switch, which is basically like Nintendo's handheld and console into one system. And when the Wii was doing 101 million, there was also the DS doing like 150 million.
Yeah.
We're in a different era, just in terms of that. People are, a lot of people that were buying DSs back then or Wii's then are now just playing stuff on their iPads or their phones or whatever. And they weren't going to buy anything like this. So the fact that even in this world, Nintendo's able to make a system that is selling over 100 million units, it's impressive. It's something that I didn't necessarily think they were going to be able to do again, and obviously I was wrong, and the Switch is exactly what people wanted, so, and it's bearing it out in the sales.
A few other details from the earnings. So Nintendo Switch Online, this is again September 30th, so I forget when the Nintendo Switch expansion pack launched, but it was after this,
yeah, it was like it was in October, yeah.
So as of September 30th, it had 32 million subscribers, right?
Yes.
So and that's people paying $20 a year. Well, now a lot of those people are going to be paying $50 a year or whatever it is, and it could be attracting new subscribers, even people who want to play the Animal Crossing expansion or really want Nintendo 64 games. So that service, despite like almost nobody seems really happy with that service, but everybody buys it.
Right? Yeah, and that 32 million is like, it includes like people who are on family accounts, so it's not necessarily 32 million times 20, but it's probably pretty close to that still. And either way, that's like a lot of users for that service, for that premium service. So Nintendo's definitely probably thinking, hey, this is sort of passive money where we maintain this service, and more people, as more Switches sell, they're going to come into this. And now if we do things to make it more expensive, it's just going to keep making us even more money. So you can see why they want to do it, because it is successful when they actually, even when they're barely pulling anything off here, a lot of people still show up to buy it. And yeah, it's working, and it's probably going to just keep growing for them as they add more stuff to the expansion pack.
Mm-hmm. And what is Nintendo doing with all this money it's getting from Nintendo Switch Online and from Switch sales? So they're investing another $1 billion into game development. Jeff, what are we going to see from this?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna see them try a few new IP. I think they'll try to do a few more. I think they'll also try to like make their online more robust. I know we say that all the time, but I feel like that this money probably will go toward that in some way. But a lot of it's probably just going to be like, hey, we're making quite a few games right now, but we want to have maybe more years like 2017 where we have a big Zelda and a big Mario and a bunch of other stuff. We've had a few years now where it's like, there's a lot of games coming out, a lot of solid stuff, but we haven't had another Zelda and Mario sort of year anytime recently. And I think they're probably thinking they can maybe do that more frequently if they put a little bit more money into game development. That it's going to require probably acquiring some studios and things like that. It's probably going to require spinning up more teams or working with more external partners, something that they do a lot of. But we probably should get like a core Mario game slightly more frequently than we do, and I think this money will go toward that.
See, my read is almost a little bit more. It's about I feel like the time between core Mario games might be the same. I think we'll get continue to get like remakes and remasters and stuff, but I wonder if this is about splitting up more teams to maybe get to a lot of those dormant Nintendo franchises that are dormant for absolutely no reason. Like why not make the F-Zero game? Why not make Mother 4? JRPGs are popular and all that stuff, and you could basically make twice as many games in the pipeline and release twice as many games each year and make a significant more amount of money from software. And even if you do that, you have plenty of legacy franchises to support that, and like you said, you can spin up new franchises too. You could do spin-offs, you can do a million things there. Like Nintendo isn't hurting for IP, right? So why not? And
I think they just $1 billion is so much, but you're right, they don't need to be thinking about every single thing needs to be worth that $1 billion. They can take a few $1 million from that, do a project that is F-Zero, and make a pretty good return on that investment. It's just like, it's going to be a lot of different kinds of things that they're going to end up doing with that money, because that's a lot of money for Nintendo. And Nintendo's pretty conservative in terms of their budgets. That's not like Sony. That's what 5, 6, maybe 10 games. For Nintendo, that could be a lot more, just based on the way that they scope out their budgets. Now, their games are getting more expensive too, but it's still like they're usually pretty conservative, so they'll be able to do a ton of stuff with that money.
I wonder if you talked about acquisitions, and we keep bringing it up, but I wonder if some of that's going towards acquiring Mercury's team.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's something we hear coming out of this. I think it makes a lot of sense.
We're still waiting to hear about Metroid Dread sales, and honestly, they didn't talk about it here because it was after this reporting
Right.
period. But like, is Nintendo one where if it had done so well, they would have sent us like a press release by now or something? Does that worry you, or do they just
I
are
mean,
they
it would
just
have to
going
do.
to
I think it would
wait
have
for
to
the
do.
earning?
I think it'd have to do like extraordinarily well. Like it'd have to be like, 3 million in a week or something like that for it to like do that. But it was never going to be like that. It doesn't worry me. No, we'll hear about it at the next earnings report. And I bet it's going to be. I bet they're going to be very happy with it.
Mm-hmm. And some more of their kind of recent money is going to be going into turning more of their movies into films. They seem pretty bullish on that Illumination Mario movie already. They said they would still tackle it one at a time, but unless this Mario movie is somehow a flop, which seems hard to imagine,
Yeah.
we're going to be seeing more Nintendo property strength movies, and it's already kind of clear how they could spin off more just from that Mario movie, right? Like Donkey Kong is in it with a big celebrity, Seth Rogen, doing his voice, and it's like, did they really do all of that just for Donkey Kong's appearance in this movie, whatever it may be? Or there must be some plans for a Donkey Kong Country movie or something like that. And there's a million.
You know
other
what it is
things.
more? It's Fred Armisen as Cranky Kong. That makes me think that there's
Right.
going to be a Donkey Kong.
Like, how much
spinoff.
could Cranky Kong be in this Mario movie?
Right. Exactly. So that makes me think like, yeah, there's probably something more happening there, and of course it is. Now I think did you mention that they're gonna like work on like one movie at a time?
Right, one at a time.
Yeah, they're not gonna try to like make this like their core business. It's gonna be focusing on one movie at a time to make sure they come out nice and support everything else that's happened with all their games and the theme parks with Universal or whatever. I'm excited about this. I bet that Mario movie is gonna be a lot of fun for my kids, and they're really into Mario right now. They really got obsessed watching that the trailer from Super Nintendo World the other day again.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, like they're like, oh yeah, well, I want any Mario stuff I can get. I'm like, I wish the movie was out so I could just show it to you. But I think they have reasons to be bullish about this, and it does seem like they're going about it the right way. And Illumination seems to be all on board for it. So I think it's going to work out fine for them.
Yeah, I agree. All right. And then they also showed like a slide at some point where it's like, like the Wii was like this year and the Switch is this year, and then 20XX, our next console, so 20XX. So Nintendo has announced that a new console will launch within the next 79 years. I don't think anyone's actually taking this too seriously, but
No.
it is technically the first time we have seen Nintendo officially talk about a next system.
Yeah, I think someone mentioned that like a slide like this was in the same presentation last year, but
I refuse to believe that or acknowledge that.
Yeah, but also we're at a point where the Switch is getting to a point where maybe you could start talking about its successor. And last year that was just like, oh, well, of course they're making a new system, and this year it's like, well, maybe they're making a new system. Like there's just like a slight difference to the tone, and so yeah, I think we're gonna be like the Switch Pro talk might morph into Switch 2 talk here, and that might never go away. Actually, like we might just be in Switch 2 talk for the next couple of years. When do you think how much longer do you think we're gonna have of the Switch? Because I think it's probably gonna be another 3 years or so, and then
2 or
we get
3
a
years.
Switch 2.
I think sounds right. It's weird because back in like the old days, 5 years was a console generation,
Right.
and that was pretty consistent for a while.
Yeah.
So normally after 4 years, which is where we are now, you would start actually like really hearing about the next one. Like they would be announcing it very soon. Then at E3, you would have like the super big reveal. You see the games, the pre-orders, and all of that stuff. So like in the olden times, we would be hearing about a Switch 2 about now, which is almost hard to believe. But it is weird because they have options. They really do.
Right.
One option is they could just keep selling the Switch as is for a few more years and probably get away with it just fine. Again, like the OLED is a small upgrade, but it is an upgrade, and they still can't make enough of the things to meet demand.
Mhm.
Now, at some point, something is going to have to happen there. Demand's going to go down a bit, but it hasn't yet. I don't know. So they could just let it be. They could do the Pro thing still, and that could give them another 2 or 3 years right there on top of however long it takes to make that. Or they could just wait a few years, and release the Switch to a full successor. They have options that a lot of them seem viable. The one where you just do nothing for like 3 or 4 years seems the least viable, but also still surprisingly viable.
Yeah, I think the option. I mean, and the options are not even just like that. Like they could try to do what they do with the the 3DS where they're like, oh, here's a new pillar. If they want to like switch up what the Switch or like what the next system is, if it's not a Switch exactly, if it's not a hybrid console. Now, I think it probably will be. I think it's almost certainly going to be, but it's Nintendo, so.
Their third pillar now is movies, right? Like
Yeah, good
you were
point,
talking before, like they used to have two systems. Well, now they have movies. Now they have theme parks. Like they have an entertainment pillar now. So
Yeah.
they don't need like another weird machine off. They try to make mobile
They don't
pillar.
need one, but
no.
I still think Nintendo might think they want one. I don't know. This Nintendo might be slightly different. A lot of that stuff happened under Iwata. Iwata was always trying to push the envelope forward and trying to like find that blue ocean. Maybe this Nintendo's not exactly going to do that. We don't know yet. But I still think like right now, just looking forward, here's some things that we know are a fact. Nintendo and Nvidia have an agreement to continue working together for at least another, I think, 16 years. So the next system is probably going to be an NVIDIA-based machine, almost certainly. And does that mean like what's the most likely thing there? When we're talking about NVIDIA hardware, NVIDIA makes really high-end GPUs that you could put into a high-end home system. But really, it is NVIDIA purchasing ARM, being able to create a whole system on a chip for a mobile device that is going to make the most sense. And, where is that at right now? I think that, they could use the existing technology that NVIDIA's put out to put something out in the next year or two. I think the thing that makes the most sense is wait about 2-3 more years, put something out then, and that gives you time to like really build something custom with NVIDIA that is going to last even longer and be powerful enough to really handle everything you needed to handle, and maybe have a few other extra bells and whistles that make Nintendo happy. But yeah, I think that's the time frame we're looking at.
Jeff, is the difference between a Switch Pro and a Switch 2 only branding at this point?
I think that's the biggest thing, right? That's got to be the biggest part of it. Where, what we want from a Switch Pro is pretty much what we want from a Switch 2, right? And it's, I think it's going to be how they present it. I mean, really, that's a lot of the times like how it breaks down now, like between the Xbox Series X and the Xbox One and the PlayStation 5 and the PS4. These are very similar systems with similar architecture, and the difference is, they're definitely more powerful. But, the PS4 and the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X were also more powerful. So what's the real difference? Well, they throw in a few bonus features. The DualSense is the real thing that sets it apart. It's kind of how people feel about it. But really, it's the marketing. It's the way that the companies talk about it. So I think you're absolutely right about that. And, I think Nintendo's actually trying to figure out how they're supposed to talk about this to make people feel good about buying a new system, but also make them like feel like, oh, the momentum you have with the Switch is going to carry forward. And Nintendo's never really done that before, so it's kind of a tough messaging for them that I think they're going to have to figure out.
Jeff, The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD has sold 3.6 million copies on the Switch. The Wii original sold 3.67 million copies. So again, This was September 30th. So at this point, Skyward Sword HD has outsold the original. Now, that's interesting because, of course, like when Wii U games get ported, they outsell the original. This is a Wii game, a late Wii game. So two things stand out to me. One, that's impressive. But two, like, man, Skyward Sword only sold 3.67 million copies on a Nintendo console that had an install base of about 100 million.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, God, what this tells me more than anything is that, man, Zelda really did need Breath of the Wild. It needed that refresh.
You're absolutely right. Like, that is staggering. Again, Breath of the Wild has sold over 20 million copies.
Yes.
It's insane how much more that is than what Skyward Sword did. I think, as much as we love Link Between Worlds, I think it did around that also. Like, there is a giant difference between like what a kind of like mid-tier perception, like not perception-wise, especially with Link Between Worlds, but like a mid-tier performing Zelda and a high-end tier performing Zelda. Yep. That's incredible.
Yep, and this kind of just shows that now this is also like the Switch effect, and these games can find an audience that is very hungry for games, and is like the biggest problem with the Wii is you got to like commit to playing it, right? You got I got to commit to playing a Waggle game right now. The Switch, you just pull it out, you can play it for a couple minutes of bed whenever, and that makes it so much easier to convince yourself that it's worth spending $60 on a game, or whatever Skyward Sword cost. I think it was probably $60.
It did.
Yeah, so it's like
I think the Wii original was actually $50, and then that's why people were like extra upset about the price. But it turns out the price, charging $60 for this turned out to be just fine, huh?
Yep, totally.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, people ask us all the time about like Wind Waker and Twilight Princess coming to the Switch. Like, look at that number and tell me if you think that those games are coming to the Switch. Because
Mm-hmm.
they're going to come to the
They're
Switch.
gonna come.
So when people got that Nintendo 64 controller for the Switch, a lot of them were upset that it kind of didn't work properly with Super Mario 64 and in 3D All Stars. And I'm so much shocked. Nintendo actually did like patch it, so now that controller works perfectly on there.
Yeah, that's surprising, right? Where it's like, you kind of imagine them being like, well, just get the Super Mario 64 version that's in Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack. Like, it's right there. Just do that instead. Like, that's what we're focused on now. We're moving forward. That thing, we don't even sell that thing anymore. We stopped selling that in March. What are you talking about? That's old. That's old stuff. It's limited time. But yeah, it's nice to see them kind of not toe that line and sort of be like, oh, okay, that's fair. It makes sense. So, I mean, it's weird almost that it didn't just include this from the beginning with this controller. Like, they knew this controller was coming, but whatever. Right. They updated it. I'm not really complaining. That's I'm glad that they did that.
Yeah. Small thing here, but the indie game Airborne Kingdom has launched for Switch. This was a game that I always was interested in. I only got to play a little bit of it on Steam. I don't know if you remember this, but this is you're Googling it now. This is the one that was like, it's a town builder, but your town is a flying like fortress castle thing.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
Yeah, so this one looks cool. So I just want to highlight it that has come out for Switch. I wonder how
it's really pretty.
It's very pretty. What I played of it was relaxing and a lot of fun because so it's like, you're building your town, but you also have to like make sure you have enough propulsion. You have to make sure it's balanced properly and stuff like that.
That's fun.
But then you're also flying around the world looking for resources and looking for people to recruit into your like floating city thing. So
is there combat? Is there like encounters with enemies?
I was trying to. From what I remember, I don't think so. But maybe again, I didn't play as much of it as I wanted to. I'm not super sure. So Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, apparently there was some kind of a leak that confirmed that it's not getting like the content that was in Pokemon Platinum, which would have been like, the third tier for that series, right? Like how you have Emerald for Ruby and Sapphire. So some people are freaking out about this. I'm a little split on it. I mean, they did say remix of Diamond and Pearl, so I guess, sure. But it is also like, why not just throw that platinum content in there?
Is there an example of what platinum content is? Like, what's the kind of thing that would be in that sort of thing? Yeah, that's a good question.
Again, this isn't like my most played platform. So that's the thing with Pokemon Yellow. I could like really tell you what the new stuff they added in there was, and even with what's gold, silver. What's the third one on that one?
Hemp.
This is bothering me now. Whatever the third one was.
Myrrh. It was frankincense or myrrh. I can't remember. One of those.
I remember the big one on that one was that they added the female protagonist for the first time that you could play as. Crystal. Thank you. Crystal. Yes, gosh, Crystal. Yeah. Right. So, yeah, I wonder what it is. It must be something and people are upset, but, there it is. Last kind of fun thing here. So Konami is temporarily removing Metal Gear Solid 3D from the 3DS eShop. And in fact, they're removing all versions of Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 from all digital stores right now because they the licensing for all the historical footage that they have in those games has run out. So they're trying to figure that out. So I just thought that was fun. I wonder... They must just want to renew those licenses. They can't be very much. But I wonder if there is some like weird version where it's like, oh, we can't. So now we have to like make new content for those. Like we have to make.
They could probably just like they would probably just go get like some like public domain stuff and put some like weird and out of context like non sequitur videos in there, like videos of clowns during the Depression or something. I don't know. It's weird, but also imagine having the balls to be like, hey, that old footage that no one cares about except for the fact that it's in a Metal Gear game? Well, you need to give us more money or take it off. Stop selling the Metal Gear games. The only reason anyone's ever seen this video before. But it's so weird that
it is shocking that somebody even noticed. There's somebody in charge of noticing this and saying something.
Some snot-nosed kid right out of law school like went to go work for this like company or whatever, and it's like, hey, you're missing out on money here from this big company called Konami. It's like, oh god, all right, fine.
I love those when they use the historical footage though. It's always like kind of, especially like Metal Gear Solid 1 back in the day, it was always kind of like weirdly off-putting in this weird way. Like now we're watching like full motion video. It made the games feel grounded and it made the stakes feel higher when they're talking about nuclear wars and you're actually seeing actual footage of like scientists back in the day like working on the Manhattan Project. It was like creepy and like interesting. Plus, like people do that stuff with the memes. Like the best steamed hams meme was the Metal Gear Solid one because like at one point it cuts to like it like that, and it's like the historical footage of like I forget it was like a cattle ranch or something and whatnot. And then I don't know if you saw the newer one where they're talking about Big Chungus. It's Liquid Snake and is Solid Snake. And Liquid Snake's talking about Big Chungus and explaining the meme to Solid Snake. And it is very funny. Track that one down.
I'll have to track that down. Yep.
Oh, it's good. All right. That is it for our news segment here. Jeff, I got a few questions from the community. I saw we got a few super chats, so you can read those first. And hey, everyone else, if you have a question, you can send in a super chat. We'll get to it before the end of the show. And also, if you want to talk about your favorite third-party game that's ever been on a Nintendo console, we're going to be talking about that later, and you can tell us that on a super chat as well. Jeff, go ahead.
All right, let's see these super chats. This first one comes from Major Blazer. Hi, guys. Worked out last night and feel amazing. If you're ever worried about getting started, really the hardest part is convincing yourself to go. Yeah, no, I worked out yesterday too. I did some kettlebells. It was good stuff. It helps with the endorphins and all that stuff. All those things that go good in your brain. So I want to make my brain go good. What's that?
You guys trying to say something to me?
Oh, he's definitely trying to say something to us. Like, but you know, whatever. We're big and beautiful.
You think it actually work out? I tell you what, I should. If nothing else, like it does absolutely make you feel better.
Yes, it's more a mental health thing for me for sure.
Yeah, there was like the 1 year where I was very good about it, and surprisingly, I lost weight and had more energy.
Yeah, so. Right. Weird.
Yeah, it's shocking. I know. What else, Jeff?
I got here from Limstar. Nintendo would be foolish to abandon the Switch concept instead of expanding on its massive success. Gotta love rumors on the internet. Lol. Yeah, I don't even know if I've seen any rumors to be like Nintendo is going to abandon the concept.
No,
like,
I think maybe people just speculating. I'd be shocked if whatever it isn't basically a Switch 2.
Right. I mean, Nintendo's always wanted to Nintendo's always echoed Apple, right? And the Switch could really just be Nintendo's iPhone for decades, right?
Like, why not?
Right? Why not? I mean, and it's what I want from them. And I think, I would, if they released a new one every year, I'd probably get one every other year with the Switch, honestly.
They could iterate on this idea for seemingly at least the next 10 years, probably more.
Yeah. So, yeah, I totally think that's the path that they are most likely to take. But it's Nintendo, and that's why you see that speculation and those kinds of rumors. They can be pretty wild sometimes, and so there's always that chance. From Vapehoven, from Vape, it's like Beethoven, but Vapetoven.
I get it.
It's very good. Let's see. The expansion pass made me realize I need to cancel my Nintendo Switch Online. Yeah, I don't think you're alone on that, but I also think a lot of people also upgraded.
I think a lot of people were burned, like they upgraded. And they spent $30 more a year, and then it's like, what do I have? And you look at it, and you play like Mario 64 a little bit. Again, I love Mario 64. And then you're like, all right,
I guess it's time for win back. From Posson Theory, will Nintendo add more tiers to Nintendo Switch Online, or work to add more value to the base tier and expansion pack?
I mean, who knows? It would. If I was in charge, I would be like, we can't possibly justify another tier. We need to
$75 a year. Now you get Virtual Boy. Here we go.
Well, I never thought they were going to charge as much as they did for this second tier. So who knows what I know?
I think Nintendo is happy that like the backlash is what it is, like, because they're like, okay, we can manage this backlash. But I think they also think they can't push it any further. I think they're like, let's accept our $50 a year and try to win over people like Vapetoven, so that we can get them back in. But otherwise, we're not gonna have a $75, $80 tier anytime in the next couple of years. Like, that's not gonna happen. And then finally, we got another super chat from Locust813 with no message. Thank you, Locust. We appreciate that. We appreciate all these super chats. Like Mike said, if you want to send in your favorite third-party game and be part of the show, you can do that with a super chat, or you can join the Discord, discord.gg/GameMess, and there's links in there for joining the Patreon and stuff to get into the secret channels like Podcast Producers, which is where we get most of our questions that Mike is going to read right now.
It's true. Yes. We got a few community questions here before we get to the topic. Nintendo Bro asks, when is the Nintendogs Community Smash and Dash Mario Kart and Super Smash Brothers tournament going to happen? That is something we should actually. Yeah, we should. Now that I know how to stream from my Switch, it's easy now.
So
we can do that stuff.
The thing about the Mario Kart, and I've heard people talk about this before, but that tournament system is very, very good. It is I just set it to 24 races, and you set it for like a time of time of the week, basically, or you can make it happen weekly or monthly or something like that. I set it for weekly on Saturdays from noon to 8 p.m. my time or whatever, and then as long as you go and do 24 races at some point during that time, you get your score counted on a leaderboard, and it was a lot of fun. There was we had almost like 12 racers in there or whatever, but even if you come in later and you're not in with the main group, your score still counts. It was really well done. So yeah, maybe we should keep that up. Maybe we should maintain that, and I'll look into doing that. Maybe I'll ask someone in the community to help us maintain it, but yeah, that would be fun.
I'm not even sure what the tournament stuff is like for Smash Ultimate. I assume it has something. I don't see why it wouldn't work well.
Yeah, and even then it's like that, the 4-player, and then having people just wait in the queue to get back in and have their turn. All that stuff worked.
Look, you missed Lucas's second super chat. He just said.
Let me refresh here. See,
the one that actually had a comment. Haha. He said this is why Mike should read the super chats with the best emoji, the one with blowing the smoke out of the nose.
Hey, it's Stream Elements. It's not my fault. Didn't update. Let's see. Lucas says Metroid Dread spoiler talk. What did Jeff spoil?
Now, was this about back when I thought you spoiled something for me and complained a lot?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Probably. I didn't spoil anything. Mike realized he was overreacting.
We did that you deleted by accident or never recorded.
I
by
never
accident.
recorded it. Yeah, it's way different.
You have many crimes associated with Metroid Dread and spoilers.
Yeah, I couldn't. Yes, I'm the space pirate of Metroid Dread spoiler talk.
What happened back then was Jeff. At this point, it's not a spoiler, anyways. And at this point, so long, Jeff was trying to find out where I was in the game. And I said, I beat the 5th Emmy, and he's like, "Did you get to the part where everything's frozen?" And in my mind, I was like, "There's probably this big moment where Ravenbeak freezes the entire planet, and it's this incredible sequence and plot twist." And I got really mad. I was like, Jeff just spoiled something significant to me. Turns out it wasn't that significant, and I way overreacted.
It was just the heater stopped working for a second. You had to go through the world for 5 seconds.
Area. Yeah. But I was very mad at the time. In my mind just imagined it being as important as it possibly could be.
And he carried that with him and then he didn't tell me that he wasn't mad at me anymore. Once he realized it was nothing, he waited until I asked about it. I'm like, God damn it, Mike.
That's right.
All right, you have any questions?
One more here. Loru Legend asks, what is your favorite piece of Nintendo music? That is hard. There are so many, and there are some strong ones there.
Yeah, I like a lot of the Wii menu music, obviously, the Wii eShop channel and all that stuff. But I don't know, it's probably a lot of the stuff from Super Mario World. Honestly, that stuff just gets in my head. The Super Mario music is all very, very good. And Koji Kondo was the master of having a short loop and making it so interesting that it never got grating because you were hearing the same thing over and over again. And also, it was so good at intermingling with the sound design of collecting coins and jumping on Goombas that it just all felt so integrated and stuff. So if I had to pick a single piece, I don't know, it's pretty tough, but it's probably just the Super Mario World theme or something like that.
Yeah, gosh, yeah, it's difficult. I mean, so many Sticker Bush Symphony from Donkey Kong Country 2 is the one that I've been really into all the time lately. I can't get enough of that one. Gusty Garden Galaxy from Mario Galaxy might be the best answer. That song, the first time I heard that song in that game, because at that point it was such a leap from the kind of music we were getting in Mario games too. It's really soaring orchestral song that absolutely blew me away. Basically, the entire F-Zero soundtrack is ridiculous. I'm freaking out now because I went to my games playlist in Spotify, and one of my favorite video game songs, Still Alive, not from Portal, but from Mirror's Edge, is suddenly not available anymore. And this upsets me greatly on Spotify. I like
Jump Up Superstar.
Yes, Jump Up Superstar is fantastic.
I was on TikTok this morning watching that sound, watching just clips of that sound for 30 minutes straight, and that's just a great song, and it's a great musical moment in the middle of Odyssey that is truly great. What is the what's that one? Is it Cascade Kingdom, the one with the tanks and stuff, and the cool jazzy tune, or maybe it's Wooded Kingdom?
The one that Wooded King, the one that has it almost sounds like surfer music, right? Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah. I also like the very kind of I don't know what the word is, but it's almost not kitschy, but the Lifelight, the vocal song that plays during the Smash Ultimate intro. It's cheesy, but I like that a lot. I also like I was thinking about I know we're talking about third party, but like my favorite NES songs are actually probably the third party ones, like the Moon theme from DuckTales is probably the best NES composition. It's ridiculous. And then like a million Castlevania and Mega Man songs. All right, Jeff, we got one more super chat in here.
Yeah,
You wanna
yeah.
read
This one
that?
actually did load in here. So this is from Limstar. I bought the new Switch Lite Diamond and Pearl version. It's my third Switch. I'll probably never use it, but I got it anyway. LMAO, help.
Yeah, okay, I'm saying people are going to be those other Switches are going to probably be catching a pretty nice price here in early December as parents are desperate to get a used Switch for their kids. So if you think you don't absolutely need 3 Switches,
Yeah, that's exactly. Maybe it's time to off one and help out a kid for a premium price. And there's no helping you, Limstar. You're sick. You have a sickness. At least you know it, though. You're a sick person. That's all there's to it. We are too. At least I am.
I have to like get to the bottom of why Still Alive has been taken off. On the artist's page, there's like her special version of it, but it's not the original from the game. This upsets me greatly. And I look at the Mirror's Edge soundtrack, and like everything is still available, except for that. Oh, I'm not happy, Jeff.
Investigate this after the show.
No, I mean, okay, yeah. I guess what a choice do I have? All
Here we
right,
go,
favorite. Jeff, what is your favorite third-party game that is on a Nintendo console?
Were those all the questions we got?
Yeah. We have a zillion answers to the topic.
Cool.
Only a few questions for people. They weren't very inquisitive. They mostly wanted to talk about third-party games.
All right, this one's tough. There's a lot of options. The one that comes to my brain first, though, is, and it's probably not even the right answer, but it's the one that comes to my brain first, so I'm just going to go with it. It's Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2 or whatever it was, the launch one for the GameCube.
Rogue Leader,
yes.
Yeah, that was great.
Yes, it's just it was mind-blowingly good looking when it came out. It was the first game that really felt for me like it fully just captured the way the movies looked like. The Death Star run that I played on the demo disc over and over and over again just looked so much like the movie, and it sounded right. Again, I'm just a big Star Wars fan too, so it's like it was great to get that this cool exclusive third-party game on the Switch that just captured Star Wars, or on the GameCube in a way that like captured Star Wars so magically. And it was also like an early game for the GameCube too. So it was like, man, is this what we're gonna get throughout the rest of this generation? And it wasn't exactly like that, but still, that promise even then was still fun to have. Yeah.
It's certainly graphically the best of the GameCube launch titles, right? And GameCube, for not having like the big Mario game, the GameCube launch lineup was really fun with Monkey Ball, Luigi's Mansion, and Wave Race. It was actually a great time there.
Pretty solid, yeah.
I thought you might have said Circle of the Moon. Actually.
Yeah, that's definitely up there. Yeah, it is up there. But I don't know. Just the one that came to my head first was Rogue Leader.
Mm-hmm. Mine is, this is pretty easy for me because I love Mega Man. So right, there's so many Mega Man options. So Mega Man 3, which is already like my answer for favorite NES game, and actually just my favorite game ever. So yeah, Mega Man 3 is the answer for me. I could also probably just say Mega Man X, almost just as comfortably. That game is fantastic as well. So easy Mega Man picks for me. Let's see what the community has to say, because they have a lot to say here. Let me get the glasses on. Clear the throat. Benji Bob says, I'm going to stick to my guns and say my favorite third-party game was also my favorite DS game, Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars. They somehow managed to port almost all the GTA format to the DS, made it stylish with cel shading. The top-down feels natural on the DS. They actually used the touchpad nicely to do things like hot wiring a stolen car, and it was also forward-thinking. This is the first game you truly use your phone to do something other than going bowling with your cousin. It would never happen, but I would love to see a remaster on the Switch. Yeah, it's kind of fun seeing this game being talked about more now that we have this week, right? Or on the 11th, I think the trilogy comes out.
Man, that's nuts. But okay, yeah, man, that's gonna happen. Yeah. This is like it feels like this is almost missing. Like, I don't want the history of Grand Theft Auto to just be the PlayStation 2 games and on or whatever. I would like Chinatown Wars to be remembered as well, because it really is. It's probably my favorite out of all of those for sure.
I mean, they could at some point do a compilation or like remasters / remakes of like Grand Theft Auto 1, 2, and Chinatown Wars as like a second trilogy almost, right? The top-down trilogy. Matroid says, my favorite third-party game would have to be Mega Man 2 for the NES. So this is pretty close to me.
Mhm.
He says, I still play through it at least once every couple of years. My first experience with it was in 1989 at the age of 10. I loved it so much that I asked for Mega Man 3 for Christmas the following year, which is very close second place for me. So he's like the opposite of me, where
Right.
I prefer Mega Man 3, but not by much. The soundtrack of the entire game is some of the best 8-bit tunes ever composed and is permanently burned into my memory. Yeah, I just have to say actually that Dr. Wily's theme from this game is probably the second best composition on the NES. He continues, there's just something so satisfying about the combination of the controls, the boss battles, the art, and the music that puts Mega Man 2 at the top. Yeah, I completely agree. I feel weird sometimes because sometimes I have this antagonistic role with Mega Man 2 only because I like 3 more and have to
Right.
like defend that
All the
point.
time, right? Because everyone, like most people, seem to like always shout Mega Man 2 first.
Right. And like 3 is usually the next most popular answer,
Yeah.
but it is just a bit much that Mega Man 2 is slightly more popular that I have to like shout and I
Mhm.
sometimes have to feel antagonistic. Even though, like, yeah, again, absolutely love to. Who knows how many times I played through it. It's fantastic. Nick Turbo says, my favorite third-party game on a Nintendo console is Zombie U. Great launch title that shows the benefits of the gamepad and a great survival horror in its own right. Trying to manage inventory in the gamepad while you are still vulnerable of being attacked on the TV is very thrilling. I recently played the PC port, and while it runs a lot better, it is missing something not having a second screen. This game gets a surprising amount of love even still.
Mhm.
For something that when it came out, like people liked it, and it seemed like it got talked about a bit, but I am shocked how much people still enjoy that one. It was always so weird how much Ubisoft supported the Wii U at launch. They were like
I
on
mean,
board.
they never missed a chance to support something new, but even still, like looking back, it's still
Like
weird
MT.
that it's the Wii U got the support. But yeah, people like Zombie U for sure.
Alex says, my favorite third-party game would probably be Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Complete Edition. It's Pokemon, but a slightly more serious story, and admittedly more weeby. Alongside the story is an incredibly addicting and at times convoluted evolution path for each and every monster. I loved grinding in that game so much that I bought them on PlayStation 4 and then again on Switch when the bundle released. Getting Digimon Story games in America again was a massive win for me, and they quickly became one of my comfort food games. Fairly mindless grinding to get cooler and cooler monsters, just so satisfying. I agree. I love grinding for just stuff like that. Honorable mention to Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. The command-based gameplay is my preferred style for Kingdom Hearts, and it's handled about as well as Birth by Sleep. The story was great, but while I liked training the Dream Eaters, obtaining abilities via them was a letdown for me. Jeff, how about this? Our second Digimon reference in this episode.
Yeah, it's a Digimon heavy episode of the Nintendogs. Everybody, I will say that Digimon like leaning into the convoluted evolution path is like a smart move because kids love that bullshit, right? Kids love finding out all the very like minute things you need to do to get a character to upgrade or whatever. So yeah, a smart move by Digimon.
I'm kind of mad I never played this game because I loved the Digimon anime when it was like that original version of it was airing. And I think I got like Digimon World for the PlayStation 1 and didn't really get into it, so I never checked out any of the other games, but I know some of them are regarded very well. So maybe someday I'll go
Right here,
play.
start with Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Complete Edition.
Yeah, Complete Edition. It's got everything.
Yeah.
Soysuke says, okay, Billy Hatcher and the Giant Eggs is the best third-party game ever. It's heavily underrated, and it was so fun to play with friends when they were over. The multiplayer was so addicting, not knowing what creature you would get from the eggs. I wish that game would come back. Jeff, this is the 3D platformer that Yuji Naka made before Ball Wonderworld, I believe.
Yeah. I've actually never played Billy Hatcher. I should give it a shot. I know people seem to like it. So
That should have been that could have been a good a tier goal for you.
Yes.
We should make Jeff play Billy Hatcher at some point. He's probably gonna think it's brilliant compared to
yeah,
Ball
compared to
Wonderworld.
Bell and Wonderworld. Yeah, excuse me. But yeah, it's I know people like that. I remember people liking it then. People still talk fondly of it now.
You know, I sometimes roll my eyes at joke answers, but Schaefer had like a great one here. His answer, he says the best third-party Nintendo game is Mario Party 3.
That's pretty terrible, actually, Schaefer.
No, I love it. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's great. He has a real answer too, though. Favorite
Should we even read it after that? No, I'm sorry.
Absolutely. I'll read anything he tells me to at this point. I'm a big fan of that. Favorite third-party game is super hard to choose, but mine might be NBA Jam for the SNES. It's a perfect sports game and it's still extremely fun to this day. They tried rebooting it in a few times, and were unsuccessful. I think mainly because the original game is simply better. Great personality and sense of style. It's a great inspiration of what a sports game can be. More casual sports games, please. Yeah, NBA Jam is still fantastic and fun. I went to a post-mortem for that at one of the GDCs. It was one of the few moments I enjoyed myself at a GDC was watching that. So yeah, nothing but praise for that game.
Yeah, it was one of those games that was like the right place, right time, and also like had the phenomenon effect where it could like bring in whatever character it wanted, and that would like be a story in a video game magazine or whatever, like Bill Clinton being in there. It's like whenever I think about a secret character in a video game, to me Bill Clinton and NBA Jam is the one I go to. So it's that sort of thing. It was just a special game.
Grubbiest Fish says Final Fantasy Tactics Advance Live put over 200 hours into that game. It's just that good. Yeah, we hear about that a lot from people when we talk on this show, don't we?
Yeah, I put a lot of time in that too. It was definitely that was the time when I was getting into tactics games, and it was right there, and it was great. I love that game a lot.
Jane says Mike Minotti will approve of this, but it's always going to be the Ace Attorney games. In the Wii ports of the Ace Attorney trilogy, you get to point your Wii remote and yell objection, which is so cool. Oh yeah, that's a very good answer. Any of those, I love those. Napper says Chrono Trigger. I finished my first playthrough a few months ago and loved it. The battles are satisfying and don't go on for too long. Every party member feels unique to battle with, and the world is so fun to explore thanks to the amazing art and music. Yeah, Chrono Trigger has like a million things going for it. Like it's probably the best looking SNES RPG. It has fantastic music, but the pace is just ridiculous. If you're somebody who doesn't like JRPGs because they can be slower, play Chrono Trigger because it goes. It's as close to like a roller coaster type experience that you're going to get with a JRPG. And I'm actually shocked more don't really do that, or when it's usually hard to do that and still get people really invested in the character, in the world, and the story.
Yeah,
and I think that's the magic of Chrono Trigger, is that it does that and it manages everything else that you want from a classic Square Enix JRPG. Jeff, not you, Jeff, different Jeff, says, is this right? Was this guy's name Jeff? Now I'm worried that I was talking to you. No, his name's Jeff. Okay, yes. Jeff says, the Switch has so many great third-party games, from Hades to the Ori games. My favorite has to be Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
That's cheating.
I think I'll allow it. When Miyamoto came on stage with a Mega Man like hand cannon, I knew we were in for a treat. A Mario XCOM game doesn't seem like an easy pitch, but it was fun, goofy, and an accessible tactics game. The Rabbids are not offensively annoying, and the solid soundtrack comes from the mind that brought the world of the DK rap. Grant Kirkhope. Easy for me to say.
Kirkhope.
Hey, you're better than me at that. I still need to get through the Donkey Kong DLC, but I put many hours into the main game. Makes me wish Nintendo would take more chances with third-party developments with their IPs, especially the long defunct series. That sequel is coming out next year. I sometimes forget, like when I think about Nintendo games coming out next year for Switch, I forget about the next Mario plus Rabbids. So that is happening.
Me too.
Winnie, featuring Dante from Devil May Cry, says, having grown up a Genesis kid, my favorite Nintendo game was Maximum Carnage. It is tied to visiting friends and learning superheroes could visit each other's media. I think that's probably something kids are born with now. Man, I played that game too as a kid, and it shocked me like only recently when I found out that it had a sequel called Separation Anxiety that I
didn't know that either.
Played. It just has a sequel that apparently was not as popular, but it's out there. Adge Guy says, getting real Mega Man X vibes from this question. One, how dare you? But two, yeah, it's actually appropriate. Actually makes sense.
Yeah, fair. That's a good answer.
Turbo Sean says, Mega Man Battle Network series is a fantastic set of third-party JRPGs exclusive to the Game Boy Advance, and my favorite is Battle Network 3. It has an incredibly satisfying combat system that mixes turn-based card power-ups with grid-based strategy and a real-time setting that manages to feel distinctly Mega Man in a way you have to juggle various abilities, weapons, and dodge enemy attacks. Furthering the addictiveness is a scoring system for each battle that gives you better rewards the better you perform. The story is genuinely touching at points, and there's a slew of references for Mega Man fans to enjoy. It's a shame where people haven't experienced these games, likely because they wrote them off after Capcom went the Pokemon route from 3 onward with annual 2-version releases. At some point, Capcom has to re-release these things. I mean, they were popular enough that they made 6 of them back in the day, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, I just wonder if like there was like a time where it's like, hey, that game you know, it made more money than it cost us to make, so just make another one. And they didn't think about it too much. Now they like overthink it. It would be nice if we could get back to a time where it's like, hey, if a game could make more money than what it costs you to make and market, just do it. I never touched these games, but I remember there being 100 of them. So I was like, oh, someone must like them. And it turns out it was Turbo Sean, who is very good at Mario Kart, by the way, Mike. But you wouldn't know because you were too afraid to play with us.
I think I was busy at that point.
You were too afraid to play Mario Kart because you knew you'd get beaten.
Well, now I don't feel bad reading this message out loud. My brother just messaged me and was like, Jeff seems so sad today on this show. Then I look at the feed. I see you back there slouching.
I'm just sad that I'm doing it with you and not with all our friends like the Extra Life.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God. Adrian
Sorry, AJ,
says,
I'll sit up straight. I knew as soon as I leaned back, someone was going to say something.
It was
and of course,
my
it was your
nicer
brother.
brother.
Like, hey, tell him to sit up straight and be happy. Tell him to smile more.
Pretend like you want to be here, Jeff.
Fair enough.
Adrian says, I would say No More Heroes is one of my favorite third-party games for the Wii. It's often overlooked and is a lot of fun despite its simple nature. Considering that Nintendo was allergic to putting any game over a T rating on the Wii at the time, it's crazy that No More Heroes was released on that platform and an exclusive for so long. Jeff, we talked about this before, but we just completely missed this series. Like, we never played it back then, and we seem to have very little interest in it now.
Yeah, it's not for me. I missed it then, and now it's like, it never, the reviews of it and the people who like it never made it sound like, oh, well, you gotta go back and play it. It's just like, no, this is for me and I really like it. But you know, there was also a lot of people who would play them and say, oh yeah, they're okay. They're, you know, it's an 8 or whatever, kind of a 7-ish. And you know, I tried the new one for a little bit and I was like, oh, this seems fine. And then you know, you kind of get this open world section that was a little bit, that kind of ruined the pacing of it. So I haven't played it since. But yeah, this is not a series that I feel like the need to go back to, and I'm sorry to the fans of it.
Gerber says, my Nintendo consoles tend to end up being used almost exclusively as Nintendo players, as I found third-party stuff is often just better on other platforms. That cuts off the vast majority of third-party stuff and leaves me with a much smaller selection of games that were built around a Nintendo console's unique features. It's tragically become a bit of a joke game because of the Spielberg connection, but Boom Blocks is a legitimately brilliant game that made great use of the Wii controller and felt like something that can only exist on that platform. I was never a massive fan of motion controls, but titles like Boom Blocks and Dance Central were a glimpse at a different type of gaming experience that we lost because so many games treated motion controls as a substitute for analog stick or button. I remember one of my first E3s. I remember Steven Spielberg was just walking around the show floor, surrounded by this giant posse. But it was like the first one was like just like, you know, looking like, oh, someone famous.
Yep, I love Boom Blocks. That's a good series. It was I remember I got a 10 from EGM because I can't remember his name, but the reviewer really liked it, and people were like, "What the hell is this?" But yeah, it's definitely a fun time when you have people over. It's the kind of thing where I might actually get that out and play with my kids here in a couple of years, like when they're old enough to like understand what's going on.
Giggy says Mega Man X remains as one of my favorite games of all time. The music, graphic, art style, and level design are all top notch. Plus, there are some very cool secrets to be found. X brought new life to a franchise that was starting to feel stale. Not only is it one of the best Mega Man games out there, it is one of the best games of all time, period. I absolutely agree. Nintendo Bro says, my favorite has to be Rocket Robot on Wheels for the Nintendo 64. This was the first game developed by some no-name studio called Sucker Punch. It was published by some other random company called Ubisoft. That's right, it was 2 words back then. That's right, it was. Rocket was a ton of fun. The platforming was great. The vehicles were awesome. It had a paintball tank and a hot dog racing car. And having a real-time physics engine on a Nintendo 64 game was amazing. I'm still waiting on my wireless Nintendo 64 controller to arrive, but I'm very excited to revisit this unsung classic when it gets here. Yeah, I hope they can somehow work with Sucker Punch to get this game on.
Yeah, I wonder like who owns like the copyright and the trademark for all that stuff.
Maybe Ubisoft does.
Maybe Ubisoft, yeah. And for people wondering, like Ubisoft, like what are the 2 words there? It's ubiquitous software. That's why it's pronounced Ubisoft. So yeah,
okay. What's a dumb name when you say it like that?
Yep. Agreed.
Ubisoft sounds fine, but yeah.
That's how I used to say it, but now I can't help but say Ubisoft because ubiquitous. And I always like, in my head, I'm like, ubiquitous software. For some reason, that's how it goes every time. There's like
a woman saying it while you're waiting in a lobby.
Yeah.
Like a sci-fi movie. Welcome
software.
to ubiquitous software.
Exactly.
You find out that they're like funding like, you know, war in the Middle East or something.
Exactly. Yeah, it's exactly right. That's right. We are everywhere. We are ubiquitous software.
Yeah. basically it's just Skynet.
Yes.
Skynet from the pre-show of Terminator 2 3D and Universal Studios.
That's exactly the Skynet I was
the
thinking of.
vibe that I'm imagining right now.
Yep.
Low Rue Legend says, I am not sure if this counts, but I think Ori and the Will of the Wisps is my favorite third-party game. If that doesn't count, then it's Chrono Trigger. I think Ori counts. If it's on a Nintendo platform, it's a third-party game.
Yeah, it definitely counts.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. The last one here from our Discord. Then we got a bunch of super chats that came in. Screaming Madden says, first time doing one of these Nintendogs questions. Hey, thank you for answering. I could be on brand and say Madden 2003, since that was when the Madden games were still fun. And anytime you put it up the game, Andrew WK was always there to get you to party hard, because Party Hard was the first song on the OST. I would also say Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, but really my fondness for that game was on the superior PC version and not the Nintendo 64 version. I played the Dreamcast version of that game.
Played the N64 version with 2 N64 controllers, the
You
analog
scrub.
sticks.
That actually sounds like a lot of fun, though. So if I had to pick one, it might be The Simpsons Hit and Run on the GameCube. While the game may not hold up compared to the authentic GTAs that it was mimicking, it was still a lovingly made GTA-like set in different areas of Springfield. The world design and how various iconic Springfield locales were implemented into the 3 maps of the game was very impressive for its time. While racing and driving can get clunky, the game still had some fun missions of outrunning, chasing vehicles, or even destroying them. The game's writing still felt like prime Simpsons comedy, which is surprising considering this is 2003, which was when the show's quality of writing was starting to go downward. Oh, one more thing. The trios of horror music in Hit and Run slaps way more than it has any right to. I spent so much time trying to get enough coins to be Donut Homer. Jeff, I missed this game, and everybody brings it up as like the best Simpsons game now.
It's time to go back, and if you're gonna if you're trying to stream to get your affiliate on Twitch or something, it'd be a great game to stream. That'd be. Is there
a PC version of that one that's easy to download?
I mean, yes.
Okay, right, yes. Well, all right. So, Jeff, that's it for the community questions here. I think we got a bunch of super chats we need to get to.
Yes, absolutely. Real quick, the one I would say, another one I would say is Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. I love that on the GameCube. I don't know why I felt the need to tell everybody. But
I guess we should. Yeah, and I some people brought up Resident Evil 4, which is nice. I'm a little sad nobody brought up a Castlevania game. You had an honorable mention, Circle on the Moon, but
yes, definitely. Circle on the Moon is gonna on any day of the week could be my number one. Absolutely. So yeah. From Casual, well, hang on, let's see if there's an answer to one of these questions. Yeah, here we go. From Afro Ahmed, when Wind Waker comes to the Switch, do you think, okay, now, it's not necessarily answer this question, but here's a question. When Wind Waker comes to the Switch, do you think it'll be a Wii U port, or will Nintendo touch it up to include 60 frames per second and other bells and whistles? I think it's mostly going to be a Wii U port. Maybe they'll upgrade it in some way.
It better be 60 FPS. If I agree. If they got Skyward Sword at 60 FPS, they should. My dream would be that it includes orchestrated music, but I'm not counting on it.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. From Casual, what's for breakfast during the weekend?
My breakfast is the same every single day. I get one of these Nature Valley cinnamon oatmeal squares, and that's all I eat when I wake up, basically so that I can take my pills without getting sick. I'm not a big breakfast person.
Yeah, during the weekend, if my kid wakes me up and she's like, hey, get me some donuts, which is often how she wakes me up, I'll run out to Dunkin' Donuts or something like that and get breakfast sandwiches for everybody and get them a bunch of fun donuts or whatever. But if I'm I'm sitting home and what's that?
You never get meat donuts.
You never wake me up and say, hey, get me donuts.
I'll tell you what, it's very unlikely I'll ever wake up before you. So.
Yeah. And then if I'm home though and it's everyone's kind of being relaxing and I get a chance to decide what I want, I'll just make some eggs and bacon and stuff like that. That's what I like for breakfast. Most of the time though, I'm like Mike, and I'll skip breakfast throughout the week. On weekend, that's when I get some time. I'll do the eggs and bacon. From Limstar, this is not a drill. There is an hour-long video of gameplay for Brilliant Diamond. An hour. You gotta be kidding me. Haha. Mike?
I think this is that leak I was talking about where people discovered that it doesn't have the platinum stuff. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this I was gonna say this is probably not on the official Pokemon YouTube channel. So.
No, I don't think no.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Well, I mean, that stuff's gonna get out there. Those games are coming out soon, so people are gonna be putting that stuff out there.
Yeah.
Mike, that's all the super chats I have for now. I mean, let me hit refresh, just make sure there's nothing else here.
No, I think you're caught up.
Awesome. All right, cool.
All right, let's just talk a little bit about some of the games we've been playing this week. Jeff, I think I got to play Mario Party Superstars for the first time when we kind of crossed over our time streams there in the Extra Life thing. I'll tell you what, this is the Mario Party for me because this is basically just a remix of the 3 Nintendo 64 games, which is still what I think of when I think of Mario Party. So
I think this is what Mario Party should be, right? It's what it should be, especially like when you're talking about like one that's online, and that doesn't mean it's necessarily like some perfect experience. It is still just a nonstop bullshit like production factory, but that is what Mario Party kind of should be. It's part of the fun.
It gets people mad and riled up against each other, and comedy comes from that.
Exactly. I mean, it's going to sound like an excuse, but it's kind of fun that sometimes it's bad. Like because at the end of the day, it's kind of just about like the stories you tell afterward, the fun and the fun moment where everyone has a big outburst because something wild happened. And this game produces those experiences pretty frequently, and every time I've played it so far, it's happened. So and watching someone like kind of get frustrated because they're like continually like losing or getting unlucky, as long as people are good sports about it, it's going to be a really good time.
And usually people are. I tell you, this is a good friendship test. If somebody plays this and gets actually mad, then it's like we shouldn't hang out with them anymore.
Exactly. Like
this doesn't actually matter. But
exactly. Yeah, it's like it's kind of fun when the game's picking on you almost because you get to like overreact and stuff, and kind of like let everybody I don't know, kind of play up their emotions or whatever. We play, I think, Aaron Kelly's Scratty Bones ended up winning, I think, in the end. But like, I don't know. The mini games are fun. They're solid. It worked well when I was playing on the 8-bit Go controller. It was good.
Yeah. So I love those boards from the first 2 games, and you have all those. But now, like, because you have a larger mini game pool, because it takes it from all those 3 games, right, and maybe even beyond that a little bit.
I think it takes some GameCube games in as well, because that was one of those icons we saw, right?
Yeah. So there's just such a larger variety. Like back in the Nintendo 64 days, like in playing just even like a 15-round game or whatever it was, you could still sometimes get repeats and stuff.
Right.
So,
So
this is great for the
I
party.
haven't seen it like many repeats so far, especially not in like one game.
Yeah,
and we
it's
played,
got a nice shine to it. It looks good.
Yeah, it looks nice. It's nice big HD graphics, and I don't know, and I don't know. Those boards are fun. The mini games worked for me. I thought I don't know. Were you playing on Joy-Con? How did it feel like when you had to like move the sticks around or whatever?
No, I was playing on a Pro Controller.
I guess that's nice that you could play with a Pro Controller because you couldn't do that with Super Mario Party, right? You had to use the Joy-Con. So
You're right. Yeah, there's much of that bullshit stuff, wasn't there? Yeah, that's weird. I sometimes forget people were obsessed with that. Like that seemed really late for caring about Joy-Con still from Nintendo, even at that point. But that game has sold like over 10 million copies. So
16 million copies, yeah.
16 million, that's insane.
16 million copies, yep.
And like Jeff, now think about how much more that game has sold than the original version of Skyward Sword.
Right, exactly.
Oh my god.
It's bananas. I will say that this online does seem solid. I was playing with Dan.
Yeah, it actually did.
It was like, it's not like things have to be spot on perfect, but it's like I didn't feel any lag. Wasn't annoyed by anything like that. But then I was playing with Dan Reichert, and I was trying to take a screenshot. I was using the 8-bit Do controller, and I kind of got my buttons mixed up, and I held down the basically the menu button, and I went back and I like got out of the game and caused a connection error. I basically put my system into sleep mode for a second, and everyone was like, okay, well that's done, right? There's no way this is going to be saved. It's going to be the computer taking over for Jeff. And I'm like, I heard that maybe I could get back into it. And they're like, hey, yeah, it said it saved the game. And I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna try to get back in. It's like, all right, we're waiting for you to get back in. I'm like, I'm on the screen. I'm stuck on this screen. And you just had to wait to the beginning of the next turn. And everything stopped. It loaded me in, and it just kept going. And it was like unbelievable that Nintendo actually pulled that off.
I am as surprised that Nintendo was able to make that work as much as I am not surprised that you caused a major problem.
Fair enough. Yes, I was like, yep, this feels about right. Me doing this. Mm-hmm. But hey, Nintendo accounted for Jeff Grubbs out there is all I'm saying, and that's nice. That was a real nice feeling that I was able to like not ruin everyone's night because of my stupid controller thumb buttons or whatever.
Yeah, that's how this series sure has made a comeback after that absolutely awful one, the Wii U, where they were like, people probably don't want to actually go around the board separately. Let's just put them all in a car, and they all. It's like what was that about, man? Sometimes that's almost up there with tripping and Smash Brothers Brawl. It's just a really stupid idea from Nintendo.
Right. You wouldn't like. It's all just luck anyhow. It doesn't really matter all that much. There's maybe some of those boards have some strategy to them. I was definitely on our board. I was like, I'm just gonna commit to this side with the stealing the stars and try to see. I'm not gonna worry about trying to like get to the star every time if it's over there, because it's just gonna flip around so much. I'm like, I'm just gonna commit to stealing stars and see if that helps. And it was like, whatever. It was a strategy. Who knows how much it actually helped me in the end. But it's like, you want to feel like the luck is at least your own and not like, oh, you're just stuck in there with everybody else. So this game does a good job of nailing the things Mario Party needs to nail: the fun atmosphere, the good mini games, boards that have a lot going on. And there's things, simple boards, more complicated boards. They'll probably add some more, I think, at some point. Who knows? But as is, like, even if they don't, this feels like a pretty complete package. And for $60, I'm pretty happy with it. We'll probably play it a few more times. As part of like a game night or something like that, but even then I'll be happy I got money out of it.
On here, yeah.
I
think I just started Shin Megami Tensei 5. Like, I'm still basically in the onboarding process there, so I don't really have a whole lot to say about it. But we'll see. I'm curious how much I play it, because
right, that's what I'm gonna ask.
I beat Shin Megami Tensei 4 on 3DS, and people like really loved that one, and I thought it was like good. I didn't have any strong feelings about it. I played a bit of the Nocturne remake that came out a little bit ago. I played a bit of it before I kind of bounced off. So we'll see. Like, I like the mechanics of SMT a lot, but like the setting and the kind of dourness just isn't really my vibe as much as the kind of.
Does it just feel like what if Persona was real bullshit?
No, it's I know, right? Like, it's Persona, Persona without the heart.
Persona without the heart, yeah.
But, there is something too. Like, I'd rather just play Persona, which is similar mechanically, but has like way more character developments, and even beyond that, like Persona 5, like it's so snappy, and like the game's famous for its menus, right? Like, the presentation is just out of this world. The presentation here is good, but it's not like that out of the world stuff. I'm going to compare this game Persona 5 as much as I can now, just to get people riled up, hopefully.
Right.
But
I think even that community has like come around to be like, okay, this meme is funny. Like, I think no, obviously there's still the weirdos who are going to be like, don't ever talk about them in the same sense. Yeah, together.
Even when it was happening, I think there were enough people who were like, you guys, calm down. Yes. This is looking ridiculous. Now
the community has totally embraced that joke by now, though, and it's fun. So yeah.
Right, exactly. All right, then. That is what I've been up to, Jeff.
Yeah, that does it for me too. No, it's there's other stuff going on, but we got GameSpeed Summit. We're busy.
We should get back to it.
Yeah, I'm still trying to beat Guardians of the Galaxy. I played a little bit more last night. That game's still fun, but by the time I get time at night, it's like
love that game.
Yes. I'm glad they do, and I think a lot of people are going to come to it and really love it. I'm like, yeah, I think by the end I might love it too. We'll see.
Yeah, so I'm going to. I want to beat Tales of Arise before I get into that too much. That's my plan, but it's on the menu.
It probably will be on my top 10 games of the year, now that I think about it. Guardians of the Galaxy, so yeah. I'm happy with that. That's awesome. But Mike, that does do it for me. Should I hit the button and get us out of here?
Yeah, let's start getting wrapped up here. Oh, so next week I figure I want you all to tell me, if you can only have one Nintendo game remade, which one would it be? What's your dream Nintendo remake?
Oh,
that's our top pick for next week. So we'll have fun with that. In the meantime, you can find me on Twitter at Tolkoto, TOLKOTO. Check out 90s Disney, my 90s Disney podcast at 90sdisney.com. And we will be back, Jeff and I, for Games Beat the Sides on Friday.
Yeah, check us out then, everybody. Make sure you join the Discord, discord.gg/GameMess. Find the links to the Patreon in there to get in the secret channels, all that stuff. How games make money. I got a new episode I'm recording on next Monday, and so that episode will probably come out later that week. Yeah, I don't know. If you feel like it, come watch the GameSpeed Summit. It's on twitch.tv/GameSpeed. It's not exactly for this audience specifically, but there's some cool conversations this year. Check it out.
Yeah. We'll see you guys later.
See you guys. Bye, everybody.